Okay. Can anyone say where did we stop yesterday's class? Yes, anybody? 39. Where are your classmates? Don't worry about your first exams. We'll give you time. Concentrate today and tomorrow. At least concentrate for your classes today and tomorrow. Later you will be given time for your studies. Yes, fast. Can anyone say where did we stop yesterday's class? Anyone? Okay, so you people will not will not, whether you're listening or not, we don't know. Huh? Whenever you have doubt, only then you'll ask. Okay. So in the last classes, last some couple of classes, we have started with multi-threading fundamentals. So what is multi-threading? Multitasking, running two or more programs simultaneously at the same time. Multi-threading, dividing the programs into smaller parts called as a threads and running them simultaneously. Thread is a lightweight process that executes some task. So life cycle of a thread. So new, runnable, running, terminate. So in a new, we have a runnable, yield, running, and a terminated. So again, in this case, we have wait, sleep, and suspend. Sometimes we may require some values on the keyboard. Then we may use a wait method or sleep method or a suspend method. So the life cycle of a thread, new. The thread begins its life cycle in a new state. It remains in this state until the program starts the thread. It is also referred to as a born thread. Runnable, a thread in this state is considered to be executing its task, that is running. So waiting, a thread transition to the waiting state while the thread waits for another thread to perform a task. A thread transition back to the runnable state only when another thread signals the waiting thread to continue executing. Terminated, a runnable thread enters the terminated state when it completes its task or otherwise terminates. Threads are lightweight than process. It takes less time, is less resource to create a thread. Threads share their parent process, data and code. Context switching between thread is usually less expensive than between process. Thread intercommunication is relatively easy than process communication. Better resource utilization, simpler program design in some situation, more expensive programs. Thread class and runnable interface. Multi-threading is built on the thread class and its companion interface runnable. Both are packed in a Java language. So all processes have at least one thread of execution, which is usually called a main thread. So thread can be implemented in two ways. Implementing runnable interface and extending thread class. So implementing runnable interface, the runnable interface signature, that is a public interface runnable, and where we have a method called as a run. So steps to create thread by implementing runnable. A class need only implement a single method called run. Thread can be created by any method like main or construct with following steps. Create object of class that implements run method. Create thread by passing object current class that implements a run method. Thread t equals to new thread, that is runnable object. Call start method, which in turn calls run methods and starts thread. So class myThread implements runnable public void run. For we start with for int I equals to 0, I is less than 40, I plus plus. Then system.out.println I and public static void main string arguments. So myThread TA equals to new myThread. Thread T equals to new thread TA. Extending thread class just extends thread. public void run for int I equals to 0, I is less than 40, I plus plus, system.out.println I, system.out.println end of run, t, test t equals to new test, and start. Even though we don't create any thread, Java treats the main thread as the first thread called as a main thread. It is a thread from which other child threads will be swapped. It must be the last thread to finish execution because it performs various shutdown actions. Controlling many threads, it can be controlled through a thread object. To do so, you must obtain a reference to I by calling a thread current thread, which is public static member of a thread. So the general form, static thread current thread. This method returns a reference to the thread in which it is called. Once you have a reference to the main thread, you can control it just like any other thread. Example, getting reference to main thread, thread t, thread.current thread, th.getName. So public class demo, public static void main string, thread t, system.out.println, th, that is object, get the name and set the name. Then sleep method, we want some values from the keyboard, then we wait, the process has to wait. In that case, we use a sleep method. So static void sleep, how long the sleep method will work, it may use for some milliseconds. Throw interrupt exception causes a thread from which it is called to suspend execution for the specified period of milliseconds. Choosing an approach, if you want to override many methods of thread class, then extend the thread class. If you want to override only run method, then better to implement a runnable interface. Creating multiple threads, class myThread implements runnable, public myThread string thread name. So name equals to thread name, public void run, try, then system.out.println, that is thread.class, catch, interrupt, and system. All child threads execute concurrently. Threads are started in order in which they are created. However, this may not always be the case. Java is free to execute the execution of a thread in its own way because of difference in timing or environment. Output from the program may differ. Determining when a thread ends, as main is the parent for all the child process. We want main to finish last over all the threads. How to ensure the main finishes last? Java provides two methods for this. IsAlive helps to determine whether a thread has finished. Join waits for thread to finish. Syntax for IsAlive: final boolean IsAlive returns true if a thread upon which it is called is still running, otherwise false. Syntax for joining: final void join throws interrupted exception. This method waits until the thread on which it is called terminates. Then this is a program where we have seen how the runnable interface is used. The same way, thread priorities. What is a priority we are giving? Which one should be executed first? In case if it is a lower priority is executing, and if a higher priority comes, then the lower priority will be popped out and higher priority will be executed first. So that's the reason here you can see the maximum priority will be set as 10, minimum priority will be set as 1, and the normal or ordinary priority will be default 5. And context switching from one thread running to the another thread. This is a program. And using yield, causing a currently running thread to yield to any other threads with the same priority waiting to be scheduled. So that's what here we have seen, if I equals to 2 yield. Then synchronized. So I told you if we use a synchronized, the sharing of resources will be locked. So when more than one thread try to access the shared resource, we need to ensure that the resource will be used by only one thread at a time. The process by which this is achieved is called as a synchronization. Thread synchronization, there are two types of threads: synchronized mutual exclusion and inter-thread communication. So mutual exclusive, synchronized method, synchronized block, cooperation or inter-thread communication, wait, notify, notify all. That's what thread communication. Thread synchronization, there are two types of threads: synchronization, mutual exclusive, and inter-thread communication, that is mutual exclusive. Synchronized method, synchronized block, cooperation of inter-thread communication, wait, notify, and notify all. So synchronization method, if you declare any method as synchronized, it is known as synchronized method. Synchronized method is used to lock an object for any shared resource. Synchronization in Java is the capability to control the access of multiple threads to any shared resource. Synchronized statement, synchronized block can be used to perform synchronization on any specific resource of a method. Suppose you have 50 lines of code in your method, but you want to synchronize only 5 lines. You can use synchronized block. Synchronized block is used to lock an object for any shared resource. Scope of a synchronized block is smaller than the method. Synchronized block is used to lock an object for any synchronized resource. The general form, synchronized object reference expression code block. So this is a program where we have just checked whether the balance checking is balance is less than the minimum amount or it is okay. And thread communication using notify, wait, and notify all. So thread communication or cooperation is all about allowing a synchronized thread to communicate with each other. Cooperation, inter-thread communication is a mechanism in which a thread is paused running in its critical section and another thread is allowed to enter or lock in the same critical section to be executed. So allowing synchronized threads to communicate with each other, implemented by the following methods of object class: wait, notify, notify all. Wait, it causes current thread to wait until either another thread invokes. It must be called from synchronized context, that is from block or method. It means before wait method is called. Then syntax: public final void wait throws interrupted exception. Public final void wait long time out throws interrupted exception. Notify wakes up a single thread that is waiting on this object monitor. The syntax is public final void notify. Notify all wakes up all the threads that are waiting on this object's monitor. Syntax: public final void notify all. Suspending, resuming, and stopping threads. Program used suspend and resume and stop, which are methods defined by thread. They have the form shown below: final void suspend, final void resume, final void stop. So what is suspend is doing? This method puts a thread in suspended state and can be resumed using a resume method. Resume, this method resumes a thread which was suspended using the suspend method. This method stops a thread completely. Once a thread has been stopped, it cannot be restarted using resume. The program which we have seen here, synchronized method print table. So it tried to print n into 5 and try to sleep for 400 milliseconds, then again print. So that's how here this synchronized block is working. So the same program with one more example. Then synchronized block. So class table, void print table. So synchronize this. So this is what is called as a synchronized block. And the for loop is repeated, starts from I less than or equal to 5, then print n into I, then try thread and catch thread dot sleep 400, then system dot out dot println. Enumerations. So we start with enumeration. An enumeration is a list of named constant. What do we mean by enumeration? Enumeration is a list of named constants. List of named constant. In Java, enumeration defines class types. That is, in Java, enumeration can have constructor, method, and variables. An enumeration is created using the keyword enum. The following is an example. So what is enumeration? An enumeration is a list of named constant. What is enumeration? Enumeration is a list of named constant. Now named constant is what? So now pi. So pi we call it as a universal constant. So in the same way, in Java, enumeration defines class type. That is, in Java, enumeration can have a constructor, methods, and variables. So enumeration is created using the keyword enum. The following is an example. Enum person, married, unmarried, divorced, and widow. The identifier like married, unmarried, etc. are called as enumeration constant. each such constant is implicitly considered as a public static final member of a person. As after defining enumeration, we can create a variable of that type. Though enumeration is a class type, we need not use new keyword for variable creation. Rather, we can declare it just like any primitive data type. For example, person p equals to person dot married. So we can use equal to operator for comparing two enumeration variables. They can be used in switch case also. Printing an enumeration variable will print the constant name, that is system.out.println, that is print as married. So consider the enumeration program. So we give enumeration person, married, unmarried, divorced, and widow. So what we have done, this is an enumeration used, and in that enumeration, enumeration name is a person, and again in that person can be married, person can be unmarried, person can be divorced or a widow. So let us use this in the enumeration class. So then I told you, for any Java program, public static void means string and arguments. Person P1. P1 is what? Object created for the enumeration person. That is, we are naming it as an object as P1. P1 equals to person dot unmarried. Then system dot out dot println value of P1 plus P1. So P1 is printed. Then person P2 equals to person dot widow if P1 equals to P2. So what is being taken? What is P1? In P1 it is unmarried. In P2 widow. Are these two same? They are not same. So the system dot out dot println P1 P2 are same? No, they are not the same. So it different will be printed. So the same way now switch P1. We check for P1, created an object, and we check whether the case P1 is married. So in the P1, what is it is unmarried. It will go to the case unmarried, and the system.out.println will be printed. P1 is unmarried and break. So this is how here all the options are given based on the object and based on the condition. That particular case will be executed. This is using the switch case for a enumeration. Next we move on the values and values of method. So all enumeration contain two predefined methods, values and value of. Their general form are shown here. So public static enum type, that is values. Public static enum type value of, that is string of. So all enumeration contains two predefined methods, that is values and value of. So whatever we have the enumerations predefined, that is built-in things, that is values and value of. The general form of these two methods, public static enum type, that is values, then public static enumeration type, that is values of, that is string. The values method returns an array of enumeration constant. The values of method returns the enumeration constant whose value correspond to the string passed in the string. So that's what we have seen, that is values and values of method. So all enumeration contains two predefined methods, values and values of. Their general forms are shown here. Public static enum type is values, public static enum type values of, that is string. So in the first case, no parameters. In the second, the values of a string parameter is passed. So the values method returns an array of enumeration constant, and the value of method returns the enumeration constant whose values corresponds to a string passed in a string. So second one is used for string. The first one is the enumeration constants. So in the same way here you can see enumeration type is person, the same thing, married, unmarried, divorced, and widow. So here in this case what we are doing, so we are creating an object for person P, and here all, so we are passing following are the person constant, that is person all, person dot values for person P, P1 for all, system dot out dot print P1. So P equals to P, person value of. So here value of what we are passing, we told it is a string. So here we are passing a married. So then system dot out dot println P constant plus P. So here P1 means all values whatever is there in person will be passed. So all values, what are all values? So married, unmarried, divorced, widows will be passed. So next we move on. Enumeration. Java enumerations are class types. Java enumeration is a class type, that is we can write constructor, add instance variable and methods, and even implement interface. It is important to understand that each enumeration constant is an object of its enumeration type. Thus, when you define a constructor for an enum, the constructor is called when each enumeration constant is created. Also, each enumeration constant has its own copy of any instance variable defined by the enumeration. The here we have taken apple. So we have taken Jonath 100, Gold Dull 9, Red Dull 12, Wine Escape 12, Scotland 8. So these are the things, the different varieties of apples. The same way, private. So we are giving the price. So then apple, that is a constructor, and we are passing for that constructor one parameter called as a p. So what is that p? P is a price. So then we are finding out what is the price for each of them. So that's what here we are used one more method called as a get price and return the price. Then class enum demo. So public static void means string arguments. Apple AP, that is the system.out.println. Win app cost, apple.win app.get price. System.out.println apple, all apple prices for apple. So apple.values, system.out.println, that is cost, get price, then cents. So gold Dell cost 9 cents, red Dell cost 12 cents, Wine app cost 15 cents, Corland cost 8 cents. Here we have a member variable price, a constructor and a member method. When a variable AP is declared in main, the constructor for apple is called one for each constant that is specified. Although the preceding example contains only one constructor, an enum can offer two or more overloaded forms, just as can any other class. Two restrictions that apply to enumeration. An enumeration cannot inherit another class. An enum cannot be superclass. Enumeration inherits enum. All enumerations automatically inherited from java.language.enum. This class defines several methods that are available for use by all enumerations. We can obtain a value that indicates an enumeration constant's position in the list of constant. This is called its ordinal values, and it is retrieved by calling the ordinal method shown here. The final in ordinal, it returns the ordinal value of the invoking constant. Ordinal values begin at 0. We can compare the ordinal value of two constants of the same enumeration by using a compare to method. So what we are doing, comparing. So we compare whether that is same or not. In general, what we do, we say that whether 3 is equal to 3, means we are comparing whether the number 3 and the number 3 are same. So the same way here also, compare to. So in the general form, how we do it? So final means the further no inheritance, data type int, the method is compared to. So then in that case we have a enum type, that is object is created e. The usage will be even.compare e2. So what is present in even and what is present in e2 are the same. That's what here even and e2 should be the enumeration constants belonging to same enum type. If the ordinal values of even is less than that of e2, then compare to will return a negative value. If two ordinal values are equal, the method will return 0. Otherwise, it will return a positive number. We can compare for equality or enumeration constant with any other object by using equals, which overrides the equals method defined by the object. So that's what here the usage will be, even.compare to e2. Here even and e2 should be the enumeration constants belonging to the same enum type. If the ordinal values of even is less than that of e2, then compare to will return a negative value. If two ordinal values are equal, the method will return 0, otherwise it will return a positive number. We can compare for equality and enumeration constant with any other object by using equals, which overrides the equal methods defined by the object. So enum person, married, unmarried, divorced, widows. Then enum status, whether married or divorced. So in the person we have taken so much, and in status we have taken only married and divorced. That's what here enum class enumeration demo, that is public static void main string arguments, that is person p1, p2, p3. So person object we have created 3, that is p1, p2 and p3. M status, m equals to m status dot married, system dot out dot println ordinal values are for person p, person dot values, system dot out dot println p has value p dot ordinal, p1 equals to person dot married, p2 dot equals to person divorced, p3 equals to person dot married. So if p1 dot compare to p2 less than 0, system dot out dot println p1 comes before plus p2. Else if p1 dot compare to p2 equals to 0, system dot out dot println p1 plus is same as plus p2. Else system dot out dot println p1 plus comes after p2. If p1 is equal to p3, so we just comparing, so that's what you can see, compare to how it is working, and equals it is how it is working. So then equal symbol. So how many things are there to compare two objects, p1 and p2? So in p1 we have person dot married, in p2 we have person dot divorced, in p3 we have person dot married. So if p1 dot compare to p2, what it comes? If p1 dot compare to p2 equal to 0, what it is? So then p1 dot equals p3, then p1 equal to p3, p1 dot equals m, so then p1 equal to m. So that's how here this is moving on. Next we move on to a type wrapper. So what is this type wrapper? Java uses primitive types, also called simple types, such as an integer or double, to hold the basic data types supported by the language. Primitive types rather than object are used for these quantities for the sake of performance. Using objects for those values could add an unacceptable override to even the simplest of the calculation. Thus, the primitive types are not part of the object hierarchy and they do not inherit object. Despite the performance benefit offered by the primitive types, there are times when you will need an object representation. For example, you cannot pass a primitive types by reference to a method. Also, many of the standard data structures implemented by Java operate on an object, which means that you cannot use these data structures to store primitive types. To handle these situations, Java provides type wrapper, which are classes that encapsulates a primitive type with an object. So the type wrapper are double, float, long, integer, short, byte, character, and boolean. These classes offer a wide array of methods that allow you to fully integrate the primitive types into Java's object hierarchy. And what is primitive? So we know that what is boolean, byte, character, double, float, int, long, short, and void. Then what is wrapper? So where we have to use, where all these are present. So it is present, where is boolean primitive present? It is present in a java.language.boolean. The similar fashion, so where are the wrapper classes? So wrapper things, that is byte. If you want to use a byte, then you can use, include or import java.language.byte. So the same way character, so char, it is a character. So if you want to wrap it, so then you can use java.language.character. So the same way double, so java.language.double, java.language.float, java.language.integer, java.language.long, java.language.short, java.language.wide. So that's how here, so the primitives are used. Character wrappers. Character is a wrapper around a character. The constructor of for character is character. Here ch specifies the character that will be wrapped by the character object being created. To obtain the character value contained in the character object, call char value shown here. So character value, it returns the encapsulated character. Boolean wrapper, Boolean is a wrapper around Boolean values. It defines these constructors Boolean. So Boolean value, Boolean string. That's how here the character wrappers, how the Boolean wrappers are used. In the first version, bool val must either true or false. In the second version, if the bool string contains the string true, the uppercase or lowercase, then the new Boolean object will be true. Otherwise, it will be false. To obtain a Boolean value from a Boolean object, use a Boolean values. It returns the Boolean equivalent for invoking object. The numeric type wrapper, the most commonly used type wrappers are those that are present numeric values. All of the numeric type wrappers inherit the abstract class number. Number declares methods that return the value of an object in each of the different number formats. These methods are shown here: byte value, double value, float value, int value, long value, short value. So that's what here, for example, so if you returns a value for an object as a double, so double float value returns the values as a float, and so on. These methods are implemented by each of the numeric wrapper. All of the numeric type wrapper defined constructors that allow the object these methods are implemented by each of the numeric type wrapper. All of the numeric type wrappers define constructors that are that allow an object to be constructed from a given value or a string representation of that value. For example, here are the constructor defined for integer. So integer, int num, integer string. If string does not contain a valid numeric value, then a number format exception is shown. All of these type wrappers override to string. It returns the human readable form of the value contained with the wrapper. This allows you to output the value by passing a type wrapper object to println, for example, without having to convert its primitive types. So take an small program and let us see how this wrapper classes are working. So type wrap, so public static void main string arguments, that is character. If you want to wrap a character, then we give it as a character. Object created is ch and new. So how do we create an object? We create an object by a ch. So then system.out.println character, ch.character value, boolean, b equals to new boolean true, system.out.println boolean, b dot boolean value. So boolean b1 equals to new boolean false, system.out.println boolean is b1 dot boolean value. Integer IOB equals to new integer 12, that is boxing. So that's what we'll be seeing in our next few classes. What is boxing and unboxing? In this example only, we can see how the boxing and unboxing is working. So we are converting the object type to integer type is called as a boxing. So integer IO, you can see object is created, integer type. So in the name is given as integer object, and we are storing it as a 12. So then that object is converted to integer type. So unboxing, so I equals to integer object dot int value. Then system.out.println integer a equals to new integer 21, int x equals to a dot int value, system.out.println x is plus x. string s equals to integer dot to integer 25 system dot out dot println s plus s. So that's what here. Next we move on auto boxing. Auto boxing is what just now I told, converting the object to a integer object type to a integer type or a float type. That is what is called as a boxing. So then auto boxing means automatically it is done. That is what is called as a auto boxing. Java added two important features, auto boxing and auto unboxing. Auto boxing is this process by which the primitive type is automatically encapsulated, that is boxed into its equivalent type wrapper whenever an object of that type is needed. There is no need to explicitly construct an object. So auto unboxing is the process by which the value of the boxed object is automatically extracted, that is unboxed, from a type wrapper when its value is needed. There is no need to call a method such as int value or double value. So what is boxing and auto boxing? So auto boxing and auto unboxing. What is auto boxing? So Java added two important features, that is auto boxing and auto unboxing. What is auto boxing? Auto boxing is a process by which an primitive type is automatically encapsulated, that is boxed, into its equivalent type wrapper whenever an object of that type is needed. There is no need to explicitly construct an object. Auto unboxing is the process by which the value of boxed object is automatically extracted, that is unboxed, from a type wrapper when its value is needed. There is no need to call a method such as int value or a double value. So in addition to of auto boxing and auto unboxing greatly streams the coding of several algorithms, removing in addition of auto boxing and auto unboxing greatly streams the coding of several algorithms, removing the tenders of manual boxing and unboxing values. It also helps prevent errors. Moreover, it is very important to generic which operates only on objects. Finally, auto boxing makes working with the collection framework much easier. With auto boxing, it is much uh, removing the tenders of manually boxing and unboxing values. It will also so the addition of auto boxing and auto unboxing greatly streams boxing and unboxing streams the great streaming the coding of several algorithms, removing the tendency of manual boxing and unboxing values with the greater things. So let me take attendance, then come back. Today is 9/7. Answer your attendance. Anaga.
Yes, ma'am.
Abhilash.
Yes, ma'am.
Akhil. Akhil. Akhil.
Yes, ma'am.
Akrut.
Yes, ma'am.
Anusha.
Yes, ma'am.
Aravind.
Present, ma'am.
Arifullah.
Yes, ma'am.
Penaka.
Yes, ma'am.
Panu Prakash.
Ma'am. Ma'am.
Bhargav.
Yes, ma'am.
Rahmatullah. Chaitra.
Present, ma'am.
Chandana. Charan.
Yes, ma'am.
Darshan.
Present, ma'am.
Deeksha.
Yes, ma'am.
Dakshayani.
Present, ma'am.
Akhil marked. Kishan.
Present, ma'am.
Arshit.
Present, ma'am.
Hemalata.
Present, ma'am.
Uma.
Present, ma'am.
Jayant.
Present, ma'am.
Divya.
Yes, ma'am.
Kaushik.
Present, ma'am.
Lakshmi.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. Lakshmi is present. Lavanya.
Present, ma'am.
Manish.
Present, ma'am.
Manoj. Mohit.
Yes, ma'am.
Navya.
Present, ma'am.
Navya. Nikhil.
Present, ma'am.
Panindra.
Present, ma'am.
Pavan. Pooja.
Present, ma'am.
Purnima.
Present, ma'am.
Raman.
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi.
Present, ma'am.
Rupak.
Yes, ma'am.
Sai Kumar.
Present, ma'am.
Samir.
Present, ma'am.
Santosh.
Present, ma'am.
Sadab.
Present, ma'am.
Sharan.
Ma'am is present, ma'am.
Yeah. Shashank.
Present, madam.
Sheetal.
Present, ma'am.
Shivani.
Present, ma'am.
Soumya.
Present, ma'am.
Soumya. Spurti.
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Shri Vishnu.
Present, ma'am.
Sugandhini. Sushma.
Present, ma'am.
Sushmita.
Present, ma'am.
Sushmita you.
Present, ma'am.
Tirtha.
She is present, ma'am. She is put it in the chat box.
Trupti.
Present, ma'am.
Varsha.
Present, ma'am.
Reena.
Present, ma'am.
Reena. Okay.
Present, ma'am.
Sugandhini is
Yeah, marked Veena.
Ma'am, Sugandhini is present.
Yeah, Sugandhini. Yes, Sugandhini marked.
Ma'am, Rahmatullah present.
Chandana present, ma'am.
Yeah, Rahmatullah marked. Okay. So I'll just stop here. Before stopping, let me complete the thing. So the addition of auto boxing and auto unboxing greatly streams the coding of several algorithms, removing that tedium of manual boxing and unboxing values. It also helps prevent errors. Moreover, it is very important to generic, which operates only on objects. Finally, autoboxing makes working with the collection frames much easier. With autoboxing, it is no longer necessary to manually construct an object in order to wrap a primitive type. We need to only assign the values to a type wrapper reference. Java automatically construct the object for you. For example, here is the modern way to construct an integer object that has the value 100. The integer object equals to 100, that is autoboxing as int. Notice that no object is explicitly created through use of new. Java handles this for you automatically to unbox an object, simply assigning that object reference to a primitive type variables. For example, to unbox input output IO object, we can use a int I equals to auto unboxing. So boxing, you have to use integer, wrap the object, integer object into one thing, that is called as auto boxing, and reversing that is called as a auto unboxing. So Java handles the details for you. Here is a primitive preceding program rewritten to use auto boxing and unboxing. So demonstrating the autoboxing and unboxing, class autoboxing, public static void main, and integer I is equal to 10, autoboxing and unboxing, and print that and display it as 100. So in the next class, I'll start with autoboxing and methods. So let me stop here. So before we stop, so let us just summarize what we have done. So we have started today with the enumerations. So what is enumeration? An enumeration is a list of named constants. What is enumeration? An enumeration is a list of named constants. In Java, enumeration define class types. That is, in Java, enumeration can have constructors, methods, and variables. An enumeration is created using a keywords enum. Following is an example. So how do we do? What is enumeration? An enumeration is a list of named constant. In Java, enumeration define class type. That is, in Java, enumeration defines class type. That is, in Java, enumeration can have constructor, method, and variable. Enumeration is created using the key enumerators. Following is an example. So enum person, married, unmarried, divorced, and widow. So this is how we are creating an enumeration. Enumeration is what? Enumeration is a list of named constant. In Java, enumeration defines class type. That is, in Java, enumeration can have a constructors. So enumerations can be constructors, methods, and variable. So the general form of writing a enumeration. So what we have to do, we have to create using the keyword enum. So this is an example for creating an enumeration. That is enumeration. What is the name of the enumeration? Here we have taken it as a person. So you can write any name. So in that enumeration, so what you want to make it as a constant. We have made it a constant as a married, unmarried, divorced, and widow. So this we want it fixed. We don't want to change them. So then we are using a enumeration. So the identifiers like married, unmarried, etc. are called enumeration constant. Each constant is implicitly considered as a public static final member of a person. So what is public? It is accessible to everyone. Static, only one memory location is used. What is final? There is no further changes. So that's what here we call it as a final member of a person. Someone was calling me? Someone was calling me? Or there was some disturbance? Okay. So how do we define? Defining enumeration, we can create a variable of that type. Though enumeration is a class type, we need not use new keyword for variable creation. Rather we can declare it just like any primitive data type. For example, person P equals to person dot married. We can use equal operator for comparison to enumeration variable. They can be used in switch case also. Printing an enumeration variable will print the constant name, that is system.out.println, that is print married. After defining enumeration, we can create a variable of that type. Though enumeration is a class type, we need not use new keyword for variable creation. Rather than we can declare it just like any primitive data type. For example, person P equals to person dot married. We can either use equal operator for comparison of two enumeration variables. So they can be used in a switch case also. So printing an enumeration variable will be the constant name, that is system.out.println. So taking one example, one program for creating an enumeration. So we have created enumeration with the person. So in that person, what are the enumeration constants? That is married, unmarried, divorced, and widow. So again, this how we are using in the class. So we are creating an object for enumeration, that is P1. And for P1, we are passing person dot unmarried. And we are just displaying. The same way person P2, we are passing it as a widow. And we are comparing whether P1 is equal to P2. Is it so? No, it is not. P1 and P2 are not same. So it will print as a P1 and P2 are different. Then we can use a switch case, that is P1. So where it is matching with P1 is what? P1 is unmarried. So it will go to the case unmarried and it will print here. Then break. This is a program where we are using enumerators. In the next we have a values and value of method. So what is this values and values of? All enumeration contains two predefined methods, that is values and values of. Their general forms are shown here. So that is public static enum type values, public static enum type values of string. So the values method returns an array of enumeration constant. The values of method returns the enumeration constant whose values corresponds to the string passed in a string. So that's what here you can see what is the difference between value and values of. The values method returns an array of enumeration constant. The values of method returns the enumeration constant whose value corresponds to a string passed in a string. So here you can see, so the enumeration what we have created is a person. In this enumeration we have married, unmarried, divorced, and widow, and we are just printing public, creating the object for the enumeration P and printing that, and print all values and print which one? Print off. So that's what here, this is a difference between these two. And enumeration are class type. So the enumeration, Java enumeration is a class type. That is, we can write constructors, add constant instance variable and methods, and even implement interface. It is important to understand that each enumeration constant is an object of its enumeration type. Thus, when you define a constructor for an enum, the constructor is called when each enumeration constant is created. Also, each enumeration constant has its own copy of any instance variable defined by the enumeration. And in this program, you can see we have created an enumeration called as apple. So different types of apples, names of different apples, and what is the price of the apple. And we have used a constructor and passed for that constructor a price. And one more method called as a get price and returning that into this, and creating a class and creating an object for the enumeration, that is apple AP, and calling the get price for the apple bin space. In the same way for all other values also, we want to display what are the values, what are the prices of all the apples which are here. That's what here this program is doing. The explanation of all this. So although the preceding example contains only one constructor, an enum can offer two or more overloaded forms, just as any other class. Two restrictions that apply for enumeration. An enumeration cannot inherit another class. An enumeration cannot be a superclass. So these two restrictions are there for the enumerations. So enumeration, inherit enumeration. and what is final int ordinal. So ordinal value of invoking constants and the form of using a ordinal form. So then we have a compare to method, built-in method, where we can compare one enumerator with the other enumerator. So that's what in this program we can see the enumerator comparing P1 and P2, P3. These are the three objects which we have created for the enumeration person, and we are comparing whether enumerator P1 and P2 are same, or P1 and P3 are same, or P1 and P2. So like this comparison of all the enumerators is done. So the comparison can be done with the built-in function as compared to, or we can use a equals, or with the operator equal to. So these are the different ways where we can compare. And we have started with a type wrapper. Type wrapper is what? Which one we want to wrap in an object. So that type is called as a type wrapper. And even that is also called as a boxing and auto boxing. That's what here auto boxing. Auto boxing means wrapping up of object reference to the integer type. So that is called as a boxing and auto boxing. So unboxing, removing that object to a primitive types, is called as a unboxing. So that's what here you can see integer auto boxing. 100 is being passed to this integer object. So and again that is auto boxed. Whatever is there in the object is passed to the ordinary variable, that is I. So that is what is called as a boxing and auto boxing. Sorry, please stop. I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class.